Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. It's great to speak to you again. And unlike Love Island itself, this show is completely unscripted and unprompted. What did you think of it then?
Well,
I mean, we have to start at that bombshell right at the end. I mean, it's kind of... we will talk about the episode, but Jordan's line at the end there, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck that has come from. Considering he was giving Anna a pep talk at the start saying, like, we stick together, we are together, we're one. If one of us is down, you support the other one and you bring them back up and all this. You're thinking, you know what? Maybe I've been a bit harsh on this relationship. And obviously, I'm not a fan of Anna at all. But I've got a feeling that poor girl's going to get her heart broken, Dave, because I actually think what's happened here is... Obviously, Anna has just got a weird sort of level of entitlement and arrogance about her, unfortunately, that she can't seem to shake at times. And the fact that she was absolutely crying her eyes out because they were in the bottom three. We're the second bottom three couple. I was like, you fuck. You obviously haven't got a clue what's going on. But Jordan, we might as well just call him Michael, sort his teeth out. We're there, aren't we? He's just, I don't know what the hell he's doing, Dave.
Well, I mean, Twitter's a light, obviously, isn't it? So there's lots of accusations of it being scripted because it seems such a 180. It seems like, someone's interfered to insert drama here, because otherwise they'll have a bit of a dull episode. But I don't know where I fall on that. So here's my reading of it, Chris. I mean, I said the line, obviously, about it being unscripted at the start, but for me, it is a little bit believable. Right. And the reason I think that is Jordan came in, he had 2 dates straight off the bat. He met with Maura and then he met with Anna. And then he didn't seem that interested in getting to know anyone else after that. He obviously didn't have a chance with Maura. She made it clear as well that she was going to go after Tom. So Jordan ended up paired up with Anna. And then, it was a pretty intense relationship straight from the off. Now, when they went to Casa Amor, people, I think, are forgetting a little bit that he spent that first night in bed with Jordan, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And she blew him off, not in the good way, but, to go with Danny. So he ended up spending, a couple of nights on his own. But again, that's because, he had that initial connection with someone and then he just didn't really, you didn't see any graft with anyone else. Now he's come back and it almost becomes a mission of pride then, so Anna's gone with Ovi. So rather than, and we'd praised him for the way he handled it, but rather than kind of saying, okay, that's a closed door, let's see what else is out there, it became that mission. And so he went full on into overdrive to try and get Anna back. And we did say, okay, so once he's got Anna back, what's he going to do from there? And I just think if someone's, rather than Jordan going out and making the effort with some other girls, I think if India has gone to him and, they've had a bit of banter, a bit of a connection, as the US show might say, a bit of vibing. I can actually believe that his head would be turned.
Yeah, but again, though, Dave, what editing's going on? Because I don't even think we've seen on screen that they've had a conversation. I mean, you could be completely right, but all the stuff he's been saying, to me, just springs of a snidey fucker who has seen that they're in the bottom three. She's upset. She obviously, in her own grandioso world of Anna, thought that they would be in the top couple of, the top couple, and realising that she's not. And he's just gone, oh, fuck that. I'm going off with my lifeboat. I'm gone. He's doing the Titanic on her, I think, Dave. He's gone. So I don't think either of them come out of it too well. I haven't got a lot of sympathy for her, but in the same respect, I think you reap what you sow. She pissed him about with Ovi, and you are right, he has not had his head turned properly by anybody. It's just bizarre that in the space of one episode, and obviously we don't know the context of the day and how this has gone on. And also, why the hell would you say it on the screen unless you've been prompted, like we said? So I think, sadly, the latter is probably the more logical explanation, to be honest.
Again, maybe, I don't know, but to me it's plausible that he could have his head turned. And again, with being in the bottom three, and again, he sees it as that mission shirt. So, Anna's not worried that, anything to do with their relationship, her to Jordan and Jordan to her, she's worried about public perception of them. Whereas Jordan's, he's trying to gear up and say, well, that doesn't really matter. It's about me and you. Screw what everyone else thinks. And I think, to be honest, that'd be my approach. But then he might have sort of thought to himself as well, in those quieter moments, well, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And he has called her out a few times, for being, showing that real pathetic side that she's got, and when she's doing the whole bye with Danny and, other times as well. So I don't know. For me, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see it. And I think as well, is it karma coming back to bite them both in some respects? Because, all right, he's not done a lot wrong, but she in a lot of people's eyes, mine included, has just been an absolute nuisance in there, hasn't she? She really has contradicted herself left, right and centre. And I know she's calmed down over the last week or so, but it's just there. And I think, unfortunately, and she's not the only one, I'm not just completely singling her out, but I genuinely just think, well, that's what happens on a show like this. And he obviously, the only thing I can think of is think of it like that. Jordan was going to stay with her until this finished to see how far they got, right? He then dumps her when they get outside. Maybe he's thinking, you know what, fuck that. We're not going to win now anyway. It's pretty obvious. I might as well just cash all my chips in and go for India, who he actually likes. Maybe that. It could be.
Well, also, let's take a step back. He hasn't actually done anything than just confide in a friend and just say, I'm having a few doubts here. So he hasn't actually acted on them or done anything. All he's done is, again, in the outside world, you can have these kind of conversations with people. And it is very rare, I think, unless I'm the oddball, it's very rare to have a decision which is just 100% one way or the other. For me, you should be challenging yourself and thinking, actually, is this right? Have I seen this wrong? We saw with Anton as well, after that whole public perception of him and Belle, he's sort of questioning himself. He's a bit quicker to question himself, I think. But I don't know. Let's see what actually happens. But for Anna, Chris, I'd never like to kick someone when they're down, but I'll just say this. I ain't going to be crying myself to sleep over it.
No, and as you mentioned, kicking her while she's down, I do think the game that we got yesterday, which was an absolute bell to her, they were throwing drinks in each other's faces due to people's tweets and mentions and basically calling the housemates fake and stuff, was Molly-Mae got levered, but she got levered, Dave. But in the same respect, every time it panned to her, Sam noticed this, her hair was fucking dry. So I couldn't work out what was going on. So she gets a drink in her face and then it goes to a bitch face. That's just not true about Maura and all the other things. Everyone was saying her and Tommy were fake and she was after the money. And every time her hair was fucking bone dry. So I'm thinking, well, the continuity's not right there at all.
Oh, I'm going to have to watch that again, to be honest. I didn't pick up on that. I mean, we might as well just all pack up and go home then, might we?
Honestly,
that's like take 50. I'm going to watch that again. Again, taking it on face value, though. God, I did enjoy that.
So did I.
It's a double whammy, isn't it? It's the fact that it's the public perception, and it's the fact that the housemates kind of guess right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, savage. And I have seen people call out and say, oh, what about when she cried, when she came back from Casa Amor? And we call that at the time, her eyes were bone dry. Every time I've seen her cry, her eyes are bone dry. And so unless she's some sort of genetic freak of nature, her actual tear ducts don't actually work. She is just putting it on. And I think it's just all points to the same thing.
Yeah, and I think as well, though, Dave, I know we've said it, and it's the more this goes on, the more at times with these games, especially this sort of one where they're calling them out, are they creating them because of what's trending on Twitter? Because I asked that question, why the hell, as much as I don't like either of them, why did Molly get all the pelters and Anna got nothing? And I don't get it. There was one line, I think, of Anna and Jordan, but they should have got, or she should have got loads for her attitude. Even if it makes a change and think, you know what, I've been a right bitch, I need to change. She might be a nice person, but Molly seems to just get everything, didn't she? She hit every question.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't Molly, she got a fucking drink in her face, which was brilliant.
I thought yesterday, it was an unprompted thing, because Belle, I mean, she's done that before, hasn't she? Because she really had that action of throwing a drink in Molly's face. So that was the one that we saw on the, preview for tomorrow night. But she did get more than a fair share. I do think that over the last week, Anna and Jordan have sort of slipped more into the background. Individually they'll appear in different scenes, but not together as a couple. So I don't know if they've just sort of intentionally taken her out of the limelight. And I think I haven't heard that many people, Chris, apart from us, call Anna out for a bullshit. Blatantly call her out. I think she's still got a lot of fans out there.
Fucking hell, Dave. It's not anybody I know. Anyway, everyone who I know who watches it can't stand her. So
yeah. No, it's just you browse around Twitter, don't you? And
yeah. Dave, look, you're totally right. There's going to be people who listen to this show, and I would love to hear their opinions on her. If you want to email us, the loveislandcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter @loveislandcast. Please disagree with me. Please comment whatever you think of myself and Dave's opinions on these guys. But yeah, you could be right, Dave. It could just be a prejudice on my side because I just don't like the attitude that she brings and the way she did over Jordan initially. But the way this is going, maybe she was right to do over Jordan with Ovid because he did all that crap. I did that stupid impression in yesterday's show of him like, here's the corner here where we sat. And it's like, you're already learning. So, yeah, I call a bit of skullduggery and fakery, unfortunately. And one thing that is going to come out of it, Dave, the way it's going, I don't think that Belle is going to be shaving Anton's arse for much longer if his mates don't like her, because he was like, I'm questioning it now. And she was like, they're going to get a strongly worded DM from me. Well, wow. I'm really
no.
don't do that, please. No, I'd rather you slap me. Yeah, it's like, fuck off. Just, you've got to take it what it is.
I don't know. I think with Belle, I mean, I think what she can't say on national TV, can she? She's going to take a knife and stick it right between his best friend's shoulder blades, which is more likely, I think, because I think she has got a streak in her. And I think it would be more than a strongly worded DM, I've got to say. But like I say, it doesn't take a lot. I've never been convinced by their relationship. I thought after that whole blowout and then they made up, I thought maybe there's something there. But no, I just, Anton's so quick to doubt it. It's like, I'm not having them as a pair, to be honest.
I'm with you, Dave. I'm totally with you. And I think the one couple who do look quite sweet, to be fair, Dave, is Amber and Greg. They do look, and she wanted more out of him. He give her a kiss and she's like, I want more, and I've always, fair dues to her. She's been through the ringer this last week. We were never a fan of her at the start. I genuinely didn't like the attitude. And I always say that Anna brought her down to her level, sadly, when she had a bit of backup. But in the same respect, I think she's a sweet girl, to be honest, David. I think that they look probably now more than ever probably the most compatible couple, which is bizarre after a couple of days because, like my Sam had said to me, she said, I'm absolutely sick of it. I know she said, like, it's just so, there's nobody I care about. And that's something we've both said, haven't we? Like, there's one person in a couple we like, someone we don't. These seem like Greg is, and you've said this to me, Greg is a top guy. And he's a sound guy, and I think he might be the calmness that she needs because he doesn't seem that fiery, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think, they played up at the beginning of the episode, didn't they, that Amber was clearly feeling the loss of Michael in the Billa. But I think that just makes her human, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You see people sort of switch their feelings seemingly on and off like a tap. Whereas really, even though she can appreciate, definitely with her head, she cannot go back to Michael. But there are still feelings for her. You can see that. But definitely, I think the pair of them work quite well together. And don't forget, in that very first coupling, Amber chose Callum. And she chose him purely because he gave Caroline a kiss and said, I like a gentleman. Now, she has got that pull towards the bad boy. But I think, this rugby playing Greg might just tick all the boxes for her. And they haven't had much time. Chris, if I had to make a vote now, that's where my vote would go.
Yeah, but I think it's mad, isn't it, how our opinions change as we're doing this. I'm still King Ovie, Dave, over anything. I think he's such a good guy. I'm just not convinced by India more than anything. And we've not seen enough of her to get... Not because I don't like her or anything like that. I just haven't seen enough of her on screen to give an opinion. She seems quite dull at the moment. And that could be purely editing. We said that with Ovie, didn't we? That once they let him have a bit of screen time, his personality is so infectious. He's a top guy. I mean, I love the fact that he actually froze his hat as well. That was fantastic.
And I tell you what, I was quite peckish when I was watching him making breakfast. I was like, that looks pretty good, and I'm off eggs at the minute. So, for me to think that, he's done a good job there.
He has as well. And what do you think for tomorrow's episode the prediction's going to be? Do you think this is just going to be a storm in a teacup with Jordan, like they did with the Belle throwing Molly the drink in her face? Because I think there's something there, but I just don't know whether it's just going to be one of these heart-to-heart things where they have their undying love or something. It just seems a bit too snug for me.
Well, they must be aware how many weeks are left, surely.
Yeah, they must.
So, you would think you'd have to be a bit stupid to actually change horses now. But yeah, let's see. I mean, if he does go for India, I mean, that's a break. You know what, Chris? Something that's just popped into my head here, right? Yeah. They're all proud guys. They all love themselves quite a lot. Ovie walked in with Jordan's missus. Jordan is now talking about having a connection with someone who is coupled up with Ovie.
Yeah, I was going to say that before.
Yeah, it hadn't occurred to me. And of course, now as well, with that tweet about, India's intentions, and that's something you and I have discussed on the show, isn't it? It's put a doubt into his mind, and it might just be enough to rock that couple in a bit. Whereas it seemed to be going quite well before. I just wonder, is he actually interested in India, or is he just, trying to stick one over on Ovie after what happened earlier?
Yeah, but you could be right, but in the same respect as well, what is he going to gain out of it? Do you know what I mean? It's weird.
Few thousand Instagram followers. I don't know. Not as many as Anton's mum. But hey, I tell you what, Chris, you have had some stick, and rightly, over the years, because of your predictions. And your predictions are more miss than hit. I think it's fair to say, isn't it? Whether it's football, whether it's Love Island, whatever it is. But you consistently put yourself out there and you make brave predictions. There must be something in the name Chris, because sticking yourself out there, making brave predictions that ultimately fall flat on their face seems to run because Chris made the absolute screw up of the night for me.
It was great to watch, though, wasn't it?
It was great to watch, but even if it's in your head, right? And you could see, because he was sort of talking to himself and he was thinking, he's thinking it's about public perception. but his empathy gland was clearly dysfunctioning at that time because he was just like not thinking about how it could be perceived at all by both Harley and Ovi, to be fair. It was great to watch, but by crikey, he's fucked up there.
Oh, big time. Big time. And she couldn't hold that weird smile she's got, Dave, could she? She was just, I don't know, it was bizarre, wasn't it? And then the revelation that she'd lived in London as well, and they had the whole chat going. I think you're right about Chris. I think he's just a good guy more than anything. He
seems to be. I mean, he's coming across well, isn't he? I liked his little diary room bit where he was coming out with all the bread puns. All the dad jokes, like, you know. So, yeah, and they both rated that date 10 out of 10, didn't they?
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. I think the problem is with that whole thing with India, Chris has touched on a nerve with Harley there. She already knows she was second best, really.
Yeah.
And then so to have that validated, you can see why she was quite upset by that. So it just depends. It all seemed fairly final, didn't it, the way she stormed off? But then it did with Anton and Belle. And you know yourself, where in the heat of the moment, you know, you'll say things you don't really mean. You'll do things you don't really mean. And then in the cold light of day, you come back and say, all right, you know, I was a bit hot-headed there. So let's get past it. So I'll be interested to see if they get back together, because I think that's quite rare, isn't it? That, you know, they'd both rate the date 10 out of 10. I think that was quite sweet.
No, I agree. Now, Dave, we've had a great email from one of our listeners. Emma again has sent one in, and it's entitled "No Words." Hi guys, hope you're well. Just listened to the podcast today, and well, I have no words. How Joanna can sit there and Aftersun and not give Michael the what for after everything that has gone on is beyond me. I've never had anyone make up so much bullshit in all my life. Typical player, and I'm sure it was Amber that said originally, he looks like someone who would break a woman's heart, or something along them lines. Cannot wait for tonight's episode when Molly-Mae gets a drink in her face. Also, just on that, the point you were saying about an article saying she would be sick if Tommy went to kiss her again. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, as the past few episodes she's not really given him affection, confirming our suspicions all along. Look forward to tomorrow's podcast for the debrief. Thanks, Emma.
No, that's brilliant, that, Chris. And thanks a lot, Emma. And again, we've just got less than a week now to go on the show. So if you want to get your opinions, read them out on the show and let us know. We always love that interaction. Now, Chris, it's been a brilliant episode. How are you going to finish us off?
Well, Dave, having seen what's happened in the villa with Jordan and Anna, and his heart-to-heart that he was having on tonight's episode, this just what I've wanted to say for a long time, Dave. And, you know, I know we've been a partnership for 18 months now, but I'm not sure whether I'm in love with Asa, Dave. I want a break. I want a break.
Actually, I'm with you there. I want a break as well.
See you next time.
Bye now.